Hey everyone, this is Zach Wright, founder and CEO of Grapevine Software, the virtual office platform for your remote and hybrid organization to stay connected, informed, and engaged from anywhere in the world. This is going to be our Future of Work weekly report because we've been extremely busy, but I'm glad because we were able to run across something that a lot of people are talking about. So I want to play this clip and just see if it works. If it doesn't, then maybe we can add it in here post edit. But a lot of people are talking about Eric Schmidt, the ex CEO of Google, ex CEO of Alphabet, on his comments regarding remote work and Google. So let's take a listen. Hopefully you can hear it.
I'm no longer a Google employee.
Yes.
In the spirit of full disclosure, Google decided that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning. And the reason startups work is because the people work like hell. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but the fact of the matter is if you all leave the university and go found a company, you're not going to let people work from home and only come in one day a week if you want to compete against the other startups.
Okay, so that was taken, it was put into snippets like that and shared on LinkedIn. But let's really hone in on what he's saying. Because he said Google decided, and you can see it right here, Google decided that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning. And then I guess he goes on to compare like AI startups, Anthropic, OpenAI, Perplexity. They have hybrid policies. So they're not working 100% in the office, but they're also not working 100% remotely. What I want to call out here is this is the underlining thing that gets over highlighted whenever we're talking about remote work, right? Because we are assuming that remote work means less work. It means more work-life balance, which could also equate to less work. But in reality, remote work is not only that, right? That's like saying going into the office is only to connect with other people. That's not the only reason. It's to get work done. It's to communicate with the person next to you. It's to do all these different things, right? Remote work is the same, just in different categories. For example, remote work gives people with disabilities more opportunities to work comfortably, to be able to get positions where they're not seen as disabled or whatever the case is. It allows women to have more opportunities, to have less gaps in their resume if they choose to. It allows them to either reduce childcare cost because they can have them at home and they're able to get back to work too, or they're able to afford childcare and actually work, right? Underrepresented people have less microaggressions that they feel when they work remotely, making it easier for them to work. There are tons of things out there beyond just work-life balance. Now, I get what he was trying to say here, somewhat. I think what he was trying to say is if you work remotely, you're going to move slower or you're going to work less hard, which studies find that that's not actually true. Whenever you're in office, you're actually distracted more and you get less work done versus or working remotely, you are able to have less distractions, get more work done in a less amount of time, actually. So it's more efficient to work remotely. Now, the other part of this is the key reason that we're building Grapevine, and that's because a lot of organizations don't actually have the appropriate tools to work remotely in the most effective or efficient way, right? And so that's what he's saying here. He's saying you can't do what you need to, especially as a startup organization, if you're not in person because you need XYZ. Well, let's put this into practice for a second, right? Let me start sharing my screen. Let me put this into practice for a second, right? Because whenever you have to hire within a set vicinity or a set radius location, what are you doing? You're lowering your ability to reach the top talent within a 50-mile radius. So are you actually going to get the work done that you need to get done in the most efficient and effective way? Maybe. It's not a full no. So let's be careful there. But are you going to actually be able to surface or search through the best and top talent in the world? No, that's a definitive no. You're just not going to be able to. And so I wanted to talk about this article because I think he's going through the ringer already. We don't need to beat him up anymore. He's the CEO of Alphabet, or he was the CEO of Alphabet and Google. He knows more than I'll know at this stage in my life. Let's just call it for what it is. But you can see how apparent remote and hybrid work is to employees, because it says only to walk his comments back shortly after they went viral. He said, I misspoke about Google and their work hours. I regret the error. Why do you regret the error? You saw his face when he said it. He meant it. But this is not about him. This is about remote work and the misconception that a lot of people throw onto this. And I saw Susie Welch, Jack Welch's wife, and I think she's a TV anchor and then also a professor at NYU. So she has very quality capabilities and all that, right? Sound like Trump. Maybe we'll cut that out. That was terrible. But I actually went to Jack Welch Management Institute and got my executive MBA. So I really like them. But what she did was she talked about how she understands the backlash, because earlier this year or last year, she mentioned something about you're most likely not going to become a CEO if you work remotely. And my point of view is just that, okay, first of all, you run an entire 100% remote MBA course, so you're benefiting from that. 2, as a CEO, are you ever really anything other than hybrid? Because you're not 100% in the office, trust me. You're not 100% at home. And you're in a lot of different locations. So no matter what, you're hybrid, right? It's just this misconception that remote work continuously gets that irks me, because the misconception is that people don't work as hard when they're remote. Whenever we see the studies say that actually people have a hard time turning off and stopping work whenever they're working. And the other thing is that the misconception is that you have to be in the office physically connected to someone to understand or have a good meeting. No, meetings sucked in the office. They suck out of the office. The only person or the only thing that stops a meeting from sucking is you. The only thing that stops a company from running effectively, appropriately, are the policies that you put in place, the performance measures that you put in place, the goal tracking that you put in place, the core behaviors that you reward and recognize. All of these things have nothing to do with in office, right? We're building Grapevine 100% remote. Guess what? I'm in Concord, North Carolina. Our founding advisor is in Canada. We got another person in the UK. We got the team, a decent amount of the team in Pakistan. The majority of the people I have not met in person. Does that mean that we didn't build relationships and get to know one another? No, we know each other. Does that mean that we don't meet and have good conversations. No, we meet Mondays and Thursdays, and then we continuously talk throughout the day. If something comes up, guess what? They're going to come to me. If something comes up, I go to them. We have policies, we have structure. And that's what the issue is that remote work is harder for one reason. It's because we didn't do what we had to in the office. We didn't put in the structure. We didn't put in the processes. We didn't put in the policies. We didn't manage to goals, right? What did we do? We came in to the office, we grabbed coffee, we set it on our computer, and we figured out the day as it went. The policies were there. We learned them during onboarding, and that was it. We didn't measure on performance and outcomes. We measured on butts and seats and time that we were there. I used to be one of those people. I was the manager that got mad at people who came in late. I've changed my ways, and so can you, right? So again, I'm not coming at Eric Schmidt. I'm not coming at Susie Welch, because that's not the theme of this. The theme is that we need to get better at understanding work is work. As Laurel Farr, we just posted the podcast yesterday with her, that she says, you know what? Hybrid work, remote work, in-office work is what? Work. And so now what we have to do, because employees, rightfully so, are encouraging this work-life balance that Eric Schmidt talks about, and they're not budging. They're saying, okay, you want us to return to the office? Give us a good reason why. I've been working for 4 years remotely, and now you're saying that we got to come back into the office? Oh, and these studies over here tell us that there's no significant increase in productivity whenever we're working in the office. And you have no specific reason for why we should be in the office, other than you have a huge overhead cost because you signed a lease for 15 years, 5 years, 10 years. And that's our problem? No. So hopefully this made sense. Hopefully it was coherent. But here's the thing. Let's summarize what I'm trying to get at with this video. 1, we need to understand that remote work is just work. We need to understand that remote work is harder because of the things that we didn't do in the office. And lastly, we need to understand that whether we're in the office, hybrid, or remote, we have to have structures in place for how we work. And we need to focus on things that actually matter, not butts in seats, not how many hours that person works, but what are the outcomes that they're producing? And how do we manage to performance instead of manage by observation? Because the outcome is, if we manage by performance, we focus on the skills of the people and what they're able to contribute to our mission, our vision, and our goals as an organization, right? If we can do that, I just finished reading Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. If we can do that, we can actually make work better holistically, because we stop promoting people who are the loudest in the room, and we start promoting people who are actually capable of being strong leaders, being performers, and getting the job done no matter where they are. Again, I hope this made sense. I hope this can be a supplemental or substitute for the Future of Work weekly report. This is what everybody's talking about right now, so I wanted to get it out this week instead of wait till next week. Drop your comments. We got some spicy ones last week for the one that I posted out there. So drop the comments on your thoughts, whether you love it, you hate it, you have your own opinion. Let's have a conversation about it, because that's what we need to have. Shout out to Susie Welch for that. Let's not berate people for certain things. Let's actually get to the root cause, the heart of the problem, which in my opinion is whenever we were in office, we lacked a lot of things because we were able to get away with a lot of things. In a remote world, you can't do that. You got to have processes. You got to have the right tools, not just tools. You got to have the right tools, and you got to have the right people. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Future of Work weekly report next week.